I never imagined I'd crash my own daughter's wedding by hijacking her husband's soul. The vows were barely cold when I, trapped in his skin, whispered the family's dirtiest secret into the microphone, live-streamed to 500 guests and a million online vultures. And just like that, Emily's fairy tale empire crumbled. Because sometimes, the only way to bury your betrayers is to rise from their graves wearing their faces. It started with a lie so rotten it poisoned everything. Emily was 22, fresh out of Yale with a business degree and stars in her eyes, when she came to me with tears streaming down her porcelain cheeks. "Mom, I screwed up. Big time." We were in the kitchen of our brownstone in Brooklyn, the one I'd clawed my way into owning after Dad split and left us with nothing but his gambling debts. The air smelled like the rosemary chicken I'd been prepping for her favorite dinner. Ironic, now that I think about it, how I always cooked for her storms. She'd embezzled from her internship at Vanguard Tech, siphoning off 50 grand to cover her boyfriend's, fiancé's, crypto Ponzi scheme. Tyler Hargrove, heir to a Silicon Valley dynasty, with his chiseled jaw and TED Talk charisma, had convinced her it was just a loan from the future. But the auditors were closing in, and Emily panicked. "If they find out, I'll lose everything. My degree, my future, you." I should have let her sink. That's what any sane mother might have done. Tough love in the land of the free, where bootstraps are sacred and snitches get stitches. But Sadie Whittaker doesn't do sane. I was 45, single, running a boutique PR firm that specialized in cleaning up messes for the 1%ers. I'd built it from scratch after law school, dodging glass ceilings like they were landmines. Emily was my everything, the kid who'd worn my prom dress to her middle school dance and whispered, "We're unbreakable, Mom." So I did what any fool in love would. I confessed. One anonymous tip to the feds, forged emails pinning it all on me, and suddenly Sadie Whittaker was the villain. Corporate fraud, the headline screamed. PR queen steals from the tech throne. Tyler's daddy, Harlan Hargrove, CEO of Vanguard, a man who lunched with senators and golfs with presidents, pulled strings to make it stick. I got 5 years in federal lockup, minimum security in upstate New York, the kind where the guards wink at the rich girls but grind the rest under their boots. Emily visited once, her Gucci bag slung over her shoulder like a shield. "I'm so sorry,
Mom."
Tyler says it'll blow over. Blew over? It nuked my life. Prison was a slow bleed. My firm folded without me. Friends ghosted. Too risky to associate with a felon. And Emily? She married Tyler 6 months after my sentencing. A quiet courthouse thing to keep it low-key. I saw the photos on Instagram. Her in a sundress. Him smirking like he'd won the lottery. The comments were a parade of heart emojis and congrats to the power couple. Power couple.
Right.
Harlan had buried the embezzlement deeper than Jimmy Hoffa, and Emily's career skyrocketed. By the time I paroled out 3 years later, good behavior. They called it I was a ghost in my own city. New York had changed. The brownstone sold for pennies to cover legal fees. I crashed on a cousin's couch in Queens, flipping burgers at a diner off the 7 train. Emily? She was Emily Hargrove now, VP of Strategy at Vanguard, rubbing elbows at Met Galas. Her feed a montage of private jets and philanthropy photo ops. Tyler, the golden boy, was gunning for Harlan's throne, whispering about disruptive neural tech that would revolutionize identity in the AI age. I stalked them online like a digital detective, piecing together the rot. That's when I found the forum, deep web, invite only, The kind of place where whistleblowers and weirdos swap stories about the impossible. Body-mind exchange, they called it. Harlan's black-budget pet project, a neural implant that could swap consciousnesses between hosts. Not sci-fi bullshit, real. Tested on convicts and volunteers for rehab purposes. The pitch? Give a dying exec a fresh body. Or let a burned-out techie refresh in someone else's skin. But the leaks painted it darker. Non-consensual swaps. Souls trapped in limbo. Bodies discarded like old iPhones. One post from a former Vanguard engineer, they did it to my sister. She's in a coma shell now, while some suit walks around in her life. Reversal costs a fortune, if you can even find the off switch. My blood ran cold. Emily's latest post, a save the date for their vow renewal. Fancy word for a do-over wedding. 5 years on. With 500 A-listers and a live stream to cement Tyler's IPO launch. Join us as we celebrate eternal bonds, the invite gushed. Eternal bonds. The gall. And at the bottom, in fine print, regretfully, due to past family estrangements, attendance is limited to immediate circle. Estrangements. That's me banned. Blacklisted. The inconvenient truth they airbrushed out. I couldn't breathe. All those years stewing in a 6x8, replaying the courtroom where Emily wouldn't meet my eyes. Tyler's hand on her knee like ownership. The secret she'd buried, not just the money, but the abortion she'd had in college. The one Tyler forced her to cover up with my instability narrative when rumors leaked. I'd taken the fall for that too, whispering to reporters that my stress caused lapses in judgment. Lies on lies. But this wedding? It was their coronation. Harlan's blessing. The final nail in my coffin. That's when I reached out to Jax. Found him on that forum, a disgraced neurotech whiz. Harlan's nephew by marriage, who'd been ousted for ethical concerns. He owed me. I'd PR'd his early patents back in the day, before he went rogue. We met in a dive bar in Hell's Kitchen, rain slicking the streets like oil on water. Jax was mid-30s. Tattoos snaking up his neck. Eyes like chipped flint. You want it on the swap? He rasped over cheap whiskey. It's suicide.
Sadie.
One-way ticket unless you've got a vault of Hargrove DNA. I don't need out, I said, voice steady as a judge's gavel. I need their perfect day to choke on its own confetti. He laughed. Bitter. Then slid me a burner phone. Tyler's the key. The implants in all the family, legacy tech, they call it. Ceremonies at the plaza, security's tight, but I've got a backdoor. Swap with him mid-reception. You'll have 20 minutes before the failsafe kicks in, enough to torch it all. 20 minutes. The number burned into me like a brand. Controversial? Hell yes, stealing a man's mind to avenge a daughter's betrayal. Dark? I'd be puppeteering her husband, forcing truths she'd buried deeper than my freedom. Tense? Every second counting down to exposure. Or worse, permanence. But as I stared at the wedding website, Emily radiant in lace, Tyler's arm possessive around her waist, I felt the old fire crackle. Sadie Whittaker didn't break. She rebuilt. Brick by bloody brick. Jax prepped me in a nondescript loft in Bushwick, wires and screens humming like a mad scientist's lair. The device was a sleek dermal patch, laced with nanites that hijacked the implant signal. You'll feel it like a migraine from hell, he warned. Then, bam. You're him. Act fast, the crowd's your cover. But Harlan's got dampeners everywhere. I nodded. Heart pounding. No turning back. The night before the wedding, I slipped into the city, like a shadow. crashing as a temp server. Ironic. Serving the feast I'd poison. The plaza was a fevered dream of excess, crystal chandeliers dripping light like liquid gold, tables groaning under lobster thermidor and caviar towers, a string quartet sawing at Pachelbel's cannon. I wove through the guests in my starched uniform, old money in tuxes, starlets in sheaths that cost more than my parole wages, tray balanced, eyes scanning for the mark. Emily descended the grand staircase like royalty, her gown a cascade of silk that whispered against the marble. Tyler waited at the bottom, all broad shoulders and megawatt smile, Harlan clapping him on the back like he'd just closed a merger. They exchanged vows in the gilded ballroom, words polished to a sheen, in sickness and health, for richer or poorer.
Lies.
The officiant, a Hargrove family friend, beamed as they kissed, the crowd erupting in applause that echoed off the walls. I lingered in the alcove, pulse thundering, the patch itching under my sleeve. 20 minutes. That's all I needed to unravel the empire built on my bones. As the reception kicked off, champagne flutes clinking, the DJ spinning a sanitized remix of Uptown Funk, I made my move. Tyler was holding court at the head table, regaling investors with tales of mindful innovation. Emily hung on his arm, her laugh a tinkling bell. I approached with a tray of hors d'oeuvres, murmuring, "Compliments of the house, sir." Our eyes met, his blue and vacant, mine hazel and hungry. I pressed the hidden trigger in my palm. The world inverted. Pain lanced through my skull like a lightning strike, synapses firing in chaos. Then nothing. Blackness. Then a rush, like diving into ice water. I gasped, but it was Tyler's lungs expanding, his hands flexing on the tablecloth. Across from me, my old body, Sadie's shell, stumbled back, tray clattering to the floor. The guests turned, murmurs rippling like a stone in a pond. Emily's eyes widened.
Mom?
What the? But I was already rising, Tyler's voice smooth in my throat. Darling, I said, the word tasting like ash. We need to talk. The microphone waited on the dais, spotlit like a guillotine. 20 minutes. Let the unraveling begin. The ballroom hushed as I, Tyler Hargrove, or his hollowed-out husk strode to the mic, the crowd parting like the Red Sea for Moses with a vendetta. Emily's face was a mask cracking at the edges, confusion warring with that old flicker of guilt. My old body slumped against a pillar, attended by frantic waitstaff, but I couldn't spare it a glance. This was my stage now, the one they denied me with their estrangement bullshit. The live stream icon blinked red on the AV rig, beaming to Tyler's investor pool, Emily's influencer followers, Harlan's Rolodex of power brokers.
Perfect.
Ladies and gentlemen, I began, Tyler's baritone rolling out like thunder over the Hudson. Before we cut the cake and toast to forever, let's raise a glass to truth. Because in America, we love our stories, rags to riches, forbidden love, the underdog bite, laughter rippled, polite, expectant. They thought this was the groom's charm offensive, the viral moment to juice the IPO. Harlan nodded from his table, silver fox in a bespoke Tom Ford, oblivious. I leaned in, eyes locking on Emily. Take my wife, for instance. Emily Hargrove, née Whitaker, daughter of a woman who built empires from whispers. Sadie Whitaker, anyone remember her? The PR maven who turned scandals into gold? Yeah, she was the best of us. Murmurs now, heads turning. A few older guests shifted uncomfortably. The Hargrove machine had scrubbed my name from polite conversation. But echoes lingered. 5 years ago, Sadie took a fall. Embezzlement, they said. 50 grand from Vanguard's coffers. Funneled into. What? A lover's folly? A daughter's indiscretion? Emily's hand flew to her throat, the diamond choker glinting like a noose. Tyler's body felt alien, taller, broader. The cologne a cloying fog, but the power surged through me. Electric. Truth is, folks, that money bought silence. Covered a little family secret. An abortion. Hushed up because in our world, image is king. And Sadie? She ate the blame to protect her girl. Gasps rippled. Phones whipping out to capture the meltdown. Harlan surged to his feet, face purpling. But security hadn't clocked the anomaly yet. 15 minutes. Jax's failsafe was a ticking bomb. But I'd packed enough dynamite. But wait, there's more. Because Tyler here? He didn't just romance Emily, he engineered it. That Ponzi? His baby. Daddy's slush fund for off-books R&D. Neural swaps. Mind heists, stealing lives to sell immortality to the elite. The room exploded. A venture capitalist in the back row bellowed. What the fuck? Emily staggered toward the dais, her gown trailing like a fallen banner. Tyler. Stop. You're drunk or… She reached for my arm, his arm, and I caught her wrist. Gentle but iron. Up close. Her eyes were wide pools of terror. The same ones that had begged me in our kitchen all those years ago. Mom, she whispered, voice breaking. Controversial? Whispering maternal possession into a husband's ear on your wedding day. The tabloids would feast for months. I pulled her into a half embrace, microphone catching the intimacy.
Oh.
Honey. It's me.
Sadie.
The mom you buried with your vows. The crowd was a zoo now, screams. Shoving. Harlan barking orders to kill the feed. But it was too late. Shares in Vanguard were tanking in real time. Alerts pinging like popcorn on every phone. I spun her toward the guests, arm around her waist like a groom's claim. See, Emily chose this life. Banned her own mother from the joy. Because facing the music? That's not how we do things in the empire of exception. Flashbulbs popped. Paparazzi had breached the velvet ropes. Scenting blood. Tyler's best man, a slick lawyer type, lunged for the power cord, but I sidestepped, fluid in this borrowed frame. 10 minutes. Time to twist the knife. And Harlan, the puppet master. His tech isn't salvation, it's slavery. Ask the families of the donors, convicts like me, swapped out for fresh meat. I got the patch from a whistleblower. Jax Hargrove, your cousin. Uncle dear. He's got logs. Emails. The works. Dropping them to WikiLeaks in 5. 4. Harlan roared, charging the stage with 2 goons in ill-fitting tuxes. Emily wrenched free, tears carving black mascara rivers. You did this? For revenge? After everything everything? The word hung. A guillotine blade. I wanted to shake her, scream that everything was me, my freedom, my dignity. The nights in prison staring at Cinderblock, dreaming of her wedding march without me. But the migraine was building. Jax's nanites fraying at the edges. Vision blurring. Tyler's memories bleeding in, flashes of boardrooms. Emily's naked back and silk sheets. Harlan's gravel voice plotting my downfall. You chose him, I hissed. Low for her ears only. Over blood. Over truth. She recoiled, hand to her mouth, as if I'd slapped her. Maybe I had. The goons grabbed my arms, Tyler's arms, muscle memory kicking in with a right hook that laid one out cold. The crowd hooped, half horrified, half thrilled. America loves a brawl at the altar. Harlan loomed, jowls quivering. You bitch, he snarled. Get out of my son. I laughed. Tyler's perfect teeth flashing. Too late, old man. The swap's live. And the world's watching. 5 minutes. I seized the mic again. Voice booming. To all you dreamers out there, don't buy the Hargrove hype. Behind every perfect day is a grave. Emily's. Tyler's.
Mine.
Cheers to that. I raised an imaginary glass, then smashed the mic stand down. Sparks flying like 4th of July fallout.
Chaos reigned.
Guests stampeded for exits. Gowns ripping on chair legs. Caviar splattering tuxedos like abstract art. Emily collapsed into a chair, sobbing, as medics swarmed my old body, Sadie's vessel, now convulsing on the floor. Tyler's phone buzzed in my pocket. Alerts from the exchange. Vanguard stock plunging 30%. SEC probes launching like heat-seeking missiles. Harlan's face was a roadmap of veins. His empire cracking under the weight of one woman's fury. But as the failsafe hit, agony ripping through Tyler's neurons like barbed wire, I felt the pull. Consciousness yanking back, a vacuum sucking me from the heights. 3 minutes. I staggered toward Emily, dropping to one knee, her gown pooling around us like surrender. I did it for you, I gasped, her name on Tyler's lips. To make you see. Her eyes met mine, Tyler's eyes, and for a split second, I saw the girl from the kitchen, lost and loving. Then the world whited out. Blackness swallowed me, and I tumbled back into my own skin, the server's uniform sodden with spilled champagne. The medics were loading me onto a gurney, sirens wailing in the distance. Emily's scream cut through, Mom, but Harlan's hand clamped her shoulder, steering her away. The stream cut, but the damage? Eternal. As they wheeled me out, past the wreckage of confetti and crystal, I smiled through the pain. 20 minutes. Enough to bury them all. But deep down, in the corners of my soul, I wondered, had I saved her? Or damned us both? Waking up in Bellevue's ER was like surfacing from a tar pit, slow, sticky. Every breath a negotiation with regret. Tubes snaked into my arms. Monitors beeping a dirge for the woman I'd become. Sadie Whittaker.
Ex-con. Wedding saboteur.
National punchline. The news played on a wall-mounted TV. Muted but merciless. Hargrove heirs vow renewal descends into madness. Fraud allegations rock tech giant. Grainy footage looped, me and Tyler's body. Mic in hand. Emily's horror etched in high def. Twitter was ablaze. Hashtags like Swapgate and Mommy Dearest trending harder than a Kardashian divorce. A nurse bustled in, her scrubs patterned with cartoon hearts, a cruel joke. MS. Whittaker, you're lucky. That episode looked like a stroke, but scans are clean. Family en route. Family. The word tasted like battery acid. I croaked out a thanks, throat raw from screams I didn't remember voicing. Jax's patch had worked too well, residuals lingered. Phantom itches where Tyler's tattoos buzzed under my skin. Had I really decked a goon? Spilled the abortion? The Ponzi. The swaps? The world thought Tyler Hargrove had snapped. Bipolar episode. They speculated. Or a Hargrove cover-up gone wrong. But the leaks Jax promised? They hit like a monsoon at dawn. By morning, my phone, confiscated but returned, exploded with notifications. WikiLeaks drop, terabytes of Vanguard emails, implant schematics, victim testimonies. Project Echo. It was codenamed Echo, like the ghosts they left behind. One file detailed my swap, experimental, authorized by Harlan to test fidelity on a low-risk subject. Low risk.
Me.
The patsy. Reporters camped outside my curtain, vultures in khakis. MS. Whitaker, did you know about the tech? Is Emily cutting ties for good? I discharged myself by noon. Cab fare courtesy of a sympathetic doc who'd recognized my byline from the old days. Queens welcomed me back with gray skies and the rumble of the subway. But the city felt electric, charged with the fallout I'd unleashed. My cousin's couch was piled with fan mail, hate and hero worship in equal measure. You go. Mama Bear, from a Bronx single mom. Psycho bitch, ruin more lives why don't you, from a Tyler stan. Controversial? The op-eds debated it over brunch lattes, vigilante justice or vengeful delusion. Dark? Families of swap victims surfaced, their stories a litany of loss, husbands in vegetative shells, daughters aging out of stolen youths. Emily called that night. Voice a razor wire whisper.
Mom.
The plaza. What the hell was that? I was in the kitchenette, nuking ramen, the steam fogging my reflection in the microwave door. Truth serum.
Kiddo.
The kind you dodge with NDAs. Silence stretched. Then her sob cracked through. Tyler's.
Gone. Catatonic.
Doctors say neural overload. Harlan's suing everyone, Jax. You. The caterers. The stock's in freefall. We're losing the brownstone. Pity flickered. Unbidden. The brownstone, our brownstone. The one I bled for. But I stamped it down. You banned me.
Eminencia. From your joy.
Your life. This is the echo. She fired back. Venom I hadn't known she harbored. You ruined us. For what? A grudge. I protected you. Took the heat off your instability after the depression. The pills. Pills? The antidepressants I'd popped post-divorce. Weaponized in custody battles. Lies layered like sedimentary rock. We hung up fractured. But she showed 2 days later. Hood up against the drizzle. Knocking like a fugitive. The cousin was out. I let her in. The apartment shrinking around her designer jeans and haunted eyes. She paced. Words tumbling. Tyler's not waking up. Harlan's talking conservatorship, me. In charge of his shares. But the board circling. And the feds. Mom. They want you to testify. Immunity for the full story. Her gaze darted, landing on a faded photo of us at Coney Island. Cotton candy grins. Why'd you do it? Really? I sank onto the sagging sofa, the weight of 5 years pressing. Because you let them bury me alive. The embezzlement? Your hand on the keyboard. The abortion cover? My voice in the presser. And Tyler, God.
Ink.
He was poison from jump. I saw the bruises, the control. But you chose the crown. She flinched, sinking beside me, head on my shoulder like when she was 10 and scared of thunderstorms. I was young. Stupid. He promised the world. We talked till the ramen congealed, secrets unspooling like old VHS tape. Her version, Tyler's charm masking Harlan's machinations. The swap tech a family curse she'd ignored. My version, a mother's blind spots, enabling the fall to save her. Tense hours. Accusations flying like shrapnel. You could have walked away, she spat. Instead, you possessed him like some exorcist revenge porn. I shot back. And you could have visited. Fought for appeals. But wedding bells rang louder. Dawn broke with a truce, fragile as rice paper. Help me fix this, she pleaded. Testify. Barry Harlan. Not us. I nodded, the old fixer in me stirring. But as she left, hugging tight, doubt gnawed. Jax texted, failsafe incomplete. You're still linked. Echoes incoming. Echoes. Tyler's memories had started bleeding through in dreams, boardroom betrayals, Emily's whispers in the dark. What if the swap wasn't clean? What if I wasn't fully me? The testimony prep was a circus. Feds in off-the-rack suits. Lawyers circling like sharks. I spilled it all framing prison hell.
The patch.
Emily sat in the gallery, nodding, her presence a lifeline. Harlan's trial ballooned. Headlines screaming, tech tycoon's body snatch scandal. Vanguard splintered. Investors fled to safer bets. But the nights? They were voids. I jolt awake in Tyler's sweat, tasting his scotch, feeling phantom hands on Emily's waist. Controversial dreams, making love to my daughter in his skin. Blurring lines till I retched. Jax holed up with me, tweaking a reversal device in the loft, a Frankenstein rig of salvaged implants and black market code. The link's mutual, he admitted over energy drinks. Tyler's fighting back. Subconscious style. You feel him? He's pissed.
Pissed.
Understatement. Flashes intensified. Harlan's study. Emily signing over my assets for rehab funds. A deeper secret, Tyler's or Harlan's. A hit on a rival whistleblower. Covered as suicide. My hands, Tyler's hands, had pulled the trigger?
No.
Echoes lied. Emily crashed with us. The three of us a makeshift family in chaos. She'd sneak in after board meetings. Makeup smudged. Venting about proxy fights. Harlan's disowning me. Says I'm unstable like you. We'd laugh. Bitter. Then lapse into silence. Her head on my lap as I stroked her hair. Tension coiled. Attraction?
No.
Transference. The swap's cruel joke. But the dreams didn't care, weaving us in incestuous knots that left me showering in scalding water, scrubbing away the sin. The climax brewed at the federal courthouse. Midtown Manhattan. Rain lashing the steps like Judgment Day. Harlan's arraignment. Fraud. Manslaughter. Conspiracy. Emily testified first. Voice steady. My mother saved me from him. From this. Applause rippled. She was the redeemed princess. My turn, the stand. Oath on a Bible that felt like fool's gold. I laid it bare, the betrayal, the swap, the 20 minutes that toppled thrones. Jurors leaned in.
Hupt.
Harlan glowered from the dock. A fallen Caesar. But, as I described the possession, Tyler's body convulsing under my will, a spike hit, migraine supernova. The courtroom spun. I gripped the rail, voices distorting. Sadie. Emily's cry from the bench. Then blackout. When light returned, I was on the floor, medics swarming. But the echo was louder, Tyler's rage. A tidal wave crashing. You stole my life. It hissed in my skull. But I stole yours first. The reversal op was Jax's Hail Mary, a back-alley clinic in the shadow of the Williamsburg Bridge. Fluorescent buzz and the tang of antiseptic masking weed smoke from the next room. Emily held my hand, her nails digging crescents, while Jax wired me up like a Christmas tree gone wrong. "This severs the link," he said, sweat beading on his brow. "But it's risky, could fry both nodes." "You ready?"
Ready?
"For absolution. Or oblivion." I nodded, the gurney cold against my back. "Do it." End the echoes. The machine hummed to life. A low growl building to a whine. Pain bloomed, not the sharp stab of the swap, but a deep unraveling, threads of self pulling apart. Tyler's memories flooded, his childhood in Harlan shadow. The Ponzi born of desperation to prove worth. Emily's abortion, a shared panic they'd pinned on my meddling. Then darker, the rival's suicide, Harlan's order. Tyler's trembling finger on the gun. "I did it for us," the echo pleaded. "To protect the family you broke." I thrashed, Emily's grip iron. "Fight it."
Mom.
But the twist hit like a gut punch. The framing wasn't just Emily's crime. Tyler had evidence, texts, ledgers showing I'd skimmed from clients too. Small time compared to his scheme, but enough to leverage. Collateral, he'd called it in a late-night call I'd forgotten. Post-divorce haze. I'd confessed to cover my ass as much as hers. A mutual madness. Betrayal. Yes, but bidirectional. A snake eating its tail. The machine peaked. Sparks flying. Jax cursing as consoles lit up. Vision tunneled. Emily's face. Tear-streaked. Superimposing with Tyler's smirk. "We're all monsters," the echo whispered. Then snap. Silence. The pain ebbed, leaving me hollow, adrift in my own skin. Jax slumped, triumphant. "It's done." Clean break. Emily collapsed onto me, sobs racking us both. "You're back." My mom.
But was I?
The days blurred into a tense limbo. Harlan's trial ground on without me. Emily's testimony sealed his fate. Life without parole in a white-collar purgatory. Vanguard dissolved. Assets auctioned. The brownstone reverted to us. A hollow victory. We moved back in. Ghosts haunting the halls, me in the kitchen. Chopping rosemary like old times. Emily at the island. Laptop open to job hunts. VP of Ethics, she joked. But her eyes were shadowed. The crown too heavy. The media frenzy faded to true crime podcasts. My story dissected in Reddit threads. Hero or harpy? Listeners debated over IPAs. Did Sadie's revenge redeem? Or just recycle the cycle? Dark nights. I'd wake to phantom itches, wondering if Tyler stirred in his coma. Dreaming my dreams. He didn't die, stabilized, they said, but silent. A vegetable king. Emily visited him weekly, reading board books like penance. He loved me, she'd say. Defensive. In his way. I bit my tongue. The controversial truth. Love's a spectrum. From poison ivy to hemlock. Jax vanished post-op. A fat settlement from the feds his goodbye. But he left to file insurance. Or indictment. The final secret, Project Echo wasn't Harlan's alone. Emily had greenlit trials. Volunteers from her rehab outreach, ex-cons swapped for second chances, their bodies harvested for exec upgrades. She'd known. Buried it under good intentions. To fix what you couldn't, she confessed one rain-lashed afternoon. Thunder rumbling like judgment. You took the fall once. I thought I could balance the scales.
Scales.
The word hung by kitsch in its balance. I'd avenged her betrayal, only to unearth mine, our shared sins. A family ledger in red ink. Tense silences followed. Accusations simmering. You used me. You abandoned us. But in the we rebuilt. Therapy sessions in Soho lofts. Walks along the promenade where she'd once chased pigeons. Controversial decisions lingered. Forgive the daughter who framed you. Love the monster you birthed. The ending? No tidy bow. Emily remarried a year later, quiet, courthouse redux, to a non-profit lawyer with laugh lines and no skeletons. I walked her down the aisle, arm in arm, the brownstone's mirror reflecting two women scarred but standing. Tyler woke sporadically, piecing a life from fragments. Suing no one, karma's quiet tax. Harlan rotted in Otisville, penning memoirs no one read.
Me?
Sadie Whittaker. Phoenix or Frankenstein. I relaunched the PR firm, specializing in whistleblower rehab, cleaning messes without the lies. Clients called me the swap survivor, a title that chafed but paid the bills.
Nights. Idée pour un glass of Cabernet.
Toasting the empty chair where Emily once sat. To echoes, I'd murmur, may they fade. But as the city hummed beyond the window, horns blaring, lives intersecting like faulty wires, I felt the pull. A final twist, reversed. In forgiving her, I'd reclaimed myself. Or had I? The dreams stopped. But the question lingered. Fodder for endless debate. Happy? In the American way, flawed. Fierce. Forever unfinished.
Big cake.
Only if you believe in clean hands.
Me?
I believe in 20 minutes that change everything. And I'd do it again. In a heartbeat.